Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a look at r/best of Redditor updates. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. And of course, little disclaimer, any opinions I give on the post are just that, they're just my opinions, not facts and not to be taken as such. If you have a different opinion, please do feel free to share it in the comments below. Just make sure you're keeping it respectful. If you don't agree with other people's opinions, or mine even, there is no need to be mean. With that being said, let's get into it, shall we? So, Direct Caterpillar 77 is the person who reposted this, and the title is "My boyfriend called me a gold digger, so I left. Now he wants my help to pay rent." Of course he does. So it was originally posted by u/designer mongoose308, and we have some trigger warnings for misogyny, stalking, and weaponized incompetence. So, originally posted December 18th, 2024. Quick rant, not looking for advice, but for people who have been in similar situations. I, F30, have been with my boyfriend, M34, for 2 years. We moved in together 6 months ago, and it was all good. We had an understanding that we would go 50-50 on chores and bills until we decided to have a child, as I would be putting my body, career, and my life on the line. He would obviously need to make up for his lack of risk by contributing more around the house and monetary. Because of this, I believed we had an understanding on how we believed partnership should work. 2 months ago, he got a slight promotion and a pay bump, which meant we adjusted our cut of the bills to reflect that. But somehow he's come to expect me to then take up the chores at home. It started with small things that I knew he could do, like dishes and laundry, and escalated to sitting down all weekend watching me do my half and leaving his half of the chores to accumulate. He blamed it on the stress and added workload. But we're both corporate and work at our desks regardless. I would be more understanding if his job was more physically demanding. It got to a breaking point when I noticed mould in pots that he was meant to clean. If either of us cooks, it's the other's responsibility to clean. He just kept the lid on it so that I wouldn't notice. I needed to take a day off work to catch up with all the cleaning that he neglected. The last straw was when he came home without groceries despite it being his week. Usually when one of us is too tired to do groceries, we let the other know in advance so we can at least order in food. I told him that we needed to add a cleaner to the bills if he's not happy doing chores anymore, because I refuse to do them if he isn't contributing fairly too. He made an excuse about not wanting a stranger in our flat. I then said we'd need to begin ordering grocery deliveries for the extra cost too, if he can no longer be bothered, and he called me frivolous with money. So, I suggested that I would be happy to take up these responsibilities, but it would mean I drop my working days from 5 to 4, and I would expect to be compensated for the sacrifice I'm taking to my own career so he can focus on his responsibilities. Because apparently they matter more than my own, and I would also expect to be paid an hourly rate for doing the chores at the average market salary for a housekeeper. He seemed so surprised and shocked I'd even suggest that and didn't know how to reply, despite having an answer for everything I said before. I started to feel like he was trying to manipulate me into a situation that was more ideal to him and less ideal to me. And if he loved me, he wouldn't do that. So I asked him if his friends put him up to this because I knew they all struggled to keep girlfriends, and he said a proper woman would be happy to look after the house, and called me a gold digger. Oh, wow. Now, do I feel like these two treat this relationship in a little bit too of a kind of contractual obligation-y kind of way? Yes, it all seems very, very like, if I do more of this, then you have to pay, and I know that obviously that kind of happens naturally, but it seems very, very strict. Like, there's no give on anything. But at the same time, I also understand it, because if they're both working the same hours, they're both working the same kind of job, and it just so happens that he is earning a little bit more now, I'm sorry, dude, you're not doing anything more. You're just earning more. You should still be doing some of the chores. And even if he was working a bit more, he should still be doing some of the jobs, not just leaving everything to the OP. Like, that's ridiculous. And no matter what you feel about the way that they treat, like, the obligations in their relationship, because it does seem like there is no room for give and take. It's like, no, if I do this, then you have to do that. And I think when you're so strict with the parameters of a relationship in that way, it starts to feel more like an office job in and of itself. Do you know what I mean? Like, with the way that you're organizing each other. But, you know, if that works for some people, that works for some people. But when he turns around and says, a proper woman would be happy to look after the house. Well, if you want to do it that way, and we're going into trad wife territory, obviously, here, then you need to be a trad husband and bring in all the money and pay everything and not let the OP work, because that's how it goes. If you want the OP doing all of the housework, then you need to be doing all of the actual work and bringing in the money, and no complaining about it, please. Like, unreal, ridiculous. Also, editing me here, I was trying to think of the word the whole time I was recording this video, by the way, for how the OP describes their relationship at the start and, like, the terms and conditions of their relationship. And the word I was looking for was transactional, but I keep saying, like, contractual or contractually obligated. That's not really the word I was looking for. It was transactional. In my defense, I had had a stinker of a migraine not long after I recorded that video, and when I'm about to get a migraine, sometimes my brain turns into soup. Just like alphabet soup. There's words in there, but they don't all make an awful lot of sense. Like, yeah, he's definitely been watching some podcasts, hasn't he? Or listening to, even. I was shocked because I wasn't asking for designer items. I was asking for fair compensation for my labour, especially as it would dent my own career to take on all this work. So I called him a gold digger for wanting a private chef and a housekeeper for free. I was admittedly angry at this point, and also told him to stop being so proud of his promotion if he was too broke to afford a chef and cleaner, and instead tries to manipulate the woman he loves to do it for free. Not really for free, because taking a day off from my salary means I'll be paying for the privilege to clean up after him out of pocket. Yeah, I totally get why the OP is just like, absolutely not, absolutely not. I told him he was dragging me down when we were supposedly meant to build each other up equitably. The flat is his, so when he was ignoring me after the fight, I started packing. He told me I would see sense, but I didn't bother. I started to feel embarrassed that I didn't notice he was like this, and wasted 2 years to build up to this letdown. As I packed my car, I said as much and told him not to contact me. I blocked him everywhere, and he's now sending our mutual friends messages and voice notes to forward to me. My friends have been mostly on my side, seeing him as a bit pitiful, and I can see that. One of the male friends we have in common mentioned that he's been watching podcasts. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Watching podcasts recently about masculinity. Of course he has. And I have a feeling that this is where he got the idea to stall my future and put me under his foot to only serve his dreams and goals. I feel angry the more I think about it. He loved those podcast men's ideas more than he loved me, and now he expects me to feel sorry that he can't afford the rent without my contribution. Ah, no! If it isn't the consequences of your actions! But I believe he still thinks that I'm the gold digger for not accepting an unfair division of effort and labour. Yeah, and this is the thing, like, it might to some people seem quite stark and like almost like a contractual obligation to each other, the way they do things. Like, if I do this, I have to be compensated in this way. If I do more of that, I have to be compensated. Whereas a lot of people, they kind of work on the way of, sometimes I'll do more, sometimes you'll do more, and I don't expect anything for it. But that still equals out if you're in a sort of relationship where you have that understanding. I pick up when you need me to, and you pick up when I need you to. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this relationship, they had on the understanding from the start that they would be 50-50 split on the chores and the bills until shut up, phone. Until they had a kid. It annoys me when this thing makes noise. It really does. They had an understanding for the way things would go. This isn't like the OP has just like sprung this on this dude. They already had an agreement at the end of the day. Whether you are someone who agrees that everything should be split so finicatively, that's not even a word. What am I on about? I don't know. I haven't had my extra coffee yet today. But yeah. It's definitely not fair at the end of the day. And even if you're sat there thinking, oh God, OP, you could do the extra dishes once in a while. This isn't once in a while. He decided to just all of a sudden down tools and not do any of his fair share of the chores around the house. That's not a relationship, is it really? At that point, you're just becoming that man's skivvy. So no. I agree with the OP about just up and leaving this one. It doesn't sound worth it, especially if he's getting into these podcasts. My goodness. So then the OP goes on to say, if this has happened to any other women, how did you address it? I'm annoyed I let it trickle and accumulate for 2 months before addressing it. Moving forward, I won't enter a relationship without having this outlined at the dating stage. I'm in my 30s now and don't want to deal with men expecting free women labour because society makes them believe it's worthless in comparison to what they do. P.S. Sorry for my wonky English. I'm from a European country that isn't the UK. I didn't think your English was wonky, to be honest with you, but then again, my brain's a bit wonky today, so I wouldn't have noticed anyway. Relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, this is a common trend in recent times. Yes, it is. I had the same issue with my ex-boyfriend for 2 years. Told me my responsibilities as a woman was cooking, housework, childcare, and paying half the bills. His responsibilities were paying the other half of the bills, being in charge, bunch of question marks, yes, bunch of question marks indeed, and making all financial decisions. I earn a lot more than him. Turns out at the age of 32, he became a massive Tate stan. Boo! Like you, I didn't know that he had been consuming the content obsessively. One of the last things he said to me when we were breaking up was, all a woman is good for is keeping my stomach full and my balls empty. Blech! You're lucky you left when you did, and I am impressed with how quickly you did it. I tolerated the misogynistic crap for months before finally walking away. And then the OP says, I am glad to hear that he is an ex. Me too. I did in the moment think that I was being too rushed in my response, but my gut feeling was telling me that he was not going to hear my opinion, let alone change his ways. If he didn't respect me enough to even do what he did in the first place. I am so shocked by the comments and how common this podcast pipeline was. He listened completely in secret. I was not aware in the slightest. There must be a shame attached on some level to hide it, because we shared all the entertainment we consumed, and even his football. I would sit down with him sometimes for important matches. Yeah, I mean, and there should be shame attached to it, to be honest. Shame! For shame! Known Party 6529 then says, what messages are he sending you besides rent? Is he trying to get you back? OP says, mainly apologies and explanations for what he said. The last message I read was about his plans for his career and how he wanted to become a high earner, so I never need to work and he can buy me everything. There would be nothing worse than, ending up with a guy like this, and he does all the work, he earns everything, so you are then financially trapped underneath him. No thank you. Me and my friends agree that he is digging a hole as he still ignores my career and goals. And after accusing me of being a gold digger, his plan is to make me a gold digger? Yeah, exactly. Not sure. I think he is just in crisis mode now. And then OP added more elsewhere about the messages. I am sorry. I realised after posting that I didn't elaborate. It was just the latest string of messages he'd tried to pass on, and it shocked me enough to make this post. It was on my mind when I typed the title before I went on rant mode. He basically just mentioned that because I left him without giving him time to adjust his budgets, I should pay for the next month of rent. But he lived there before, so I know that he can afford it if he becomes frugal. My name was not on the lease, and when I mentioned I wanted to be on it, in my country having a paper trail of rent agreements makes it easy to rent when you move, a void isn't great. He told me not to worry. So I guess he kind of saved me from that in his own way. And then a deleted user says, "Congratulations, you dodged a big bullet. His issues will be bigger and bigger." And then Maywell Flower says, "Especially now he financially fucked himself over by calling the breadwinner a gold digger, and now begging that the same woman he shit as soon as she moved in to be his sugar mama to fund the roof over his head while she still no longer lives there. OP more than dodged a big bullet, she dodged nukes. Plural. That didn't quite make sense. Now begging that same woman he shitted as, I wonder if it's meant to say shitted on, as soon as she moved in to be his sugar mama. Yeah, that would make more sense now, wouldn't it?" Deleted user then says, "Nothing funnier than men calling women gold diggers when they got no gold to dig." Literally. So, edit, thank you for the overwhelming support. I see so many people have gone through the same thing, and it makes me feel less angry that I found myself in this situation. I wanted to explain a few points that came up a lot. 1. He created an Excel spreadsheet that calculated based on income how we can fairly contribute. When his pay increased, he paid more monthly, €80, and also had €400 extra monthly disposable income. If this is what soured him, I suppose he should have mentioned it was his system, not mine. 2. We did not keep a tally. We had favourite chores. He likes to vacuum, I like to put dishes away. Sometimes he is sick, does overtime, or isn't in the mood. I would happily do it. Same with him for me. I only started to tally when a pattern emerged. It would be stupid to not take notice when he is consistently leaving things to me silently, as if expecting me to silently sort it out. The mould was disgusting. The groceries were just the straw that broke the camel's back. I was exhausted after only 2 months of picking up the slack mentally and physically. Couldn't imagine doing it without serious reconsiderations to our dynamic. And then 3, we discussed children because we both agreed we wanted the relationship to head in that direction, not because we were ready now. I would not have spent 2 years with a man if our future ideas didn't align. It's okay if someone changes their mind later, but communication is important. And then 4, he listened to these podcasts in secret. I had no idea, and we usually share the entertainment we consume together, silly videos and films. Okay, cool, bit of context, love it. So June 16th, 2025, 6 months later. Hey, I posted on this sub a few months ago about my relationship with my F31 ex M35, falling apart due to his change in ideology and seeing me less like a partner and more like someone who exists to support his dreams. The breakup was quick. I walked out after a major fight with most of my items, and my father went back to collect the rest while I was on FaceTime. I wasn't scared of him then, but I knew he'd try to talk to me as he was bothering all our mutual friends to get in contact with me on his behalf. Ugh, I hate when people do that. It's just like, mate, if they've blocked you, leave them alone. They don't want to talk to you. Since then, I have slowly drifted away from our mutual friends as no one has cut contact with him, and I just wanted friends who didn't feel like they were walking on eggshells around me. He had started off being very apologetic in his messages to me, through them, but quickly became mean and blamed me for everything. He lost his flat because he could no longer afford it and moved to a studio. While he was heartbroken, his sister would look after him and clean sometimes, but even she got tired of it. He told everyone he was depressed because of me, so they all tiptoed around him. But once I started to drift off and hang out more with my hometown friends and reconnect, I heard less and less. About a month ago, I got asked on a date and said yes. The man, 33, let's say Martin, is completely new to this area and knew barely anyone. So we spent a lot of time together in the first week, just me showing him around and being more like friends before seriously dating. Somehow my ex found out. I'm still not sure how, but I think it was a mutual friend saw me and reported back. He turned up at my father's house, he doesn't know where I currently live, asking to talk to me. I called a mutual friend to alert them of his weird behaviour. It seemed to work because he didn't try anything for a while, but then one called me to tell me that they found my ex has lost his job because for the past few weeks he's been driving around my town all day instead of working in the hopes to spot me. Wow, so he's gone full stalker! Oh my life! This has scared me because I didn't think that he was capable of that, but if you read my last post, you know I don't seem to be able to predict these things well. Martin is a tall, large man, so I go out with him almost everywhere since we like spending time together anyways, and I also have my friends and my father, so I don't feel like I'm in imminent danger, but this behaviour sounds like the kind of behaviour from an entitled and delusional man, and we all know how far their delusions of entitlement can take them. For him to lose the job that he wanted me to prioritise over mine, and entire start of our argument last time, doesn't sit right with me. No, that shows that he's gone a little off the deep end, doesn't it really? Which is super concerning. At this point, the police here can't do anything as he hasn't acted and I can't prove that he has stalked me electronically. So the only way for me to find out more or resolve this is by unblocking him. No, it's not! What are you talking about? It is not the way to go. Don't unblock him, keep him blocked. If you engage with him now at this point, he is going to see that as an in. Like, no, stay doing what you're doing, keep him blocked, keep a distance, and just keep your head on a swivel. That's all you can do. Certainly don't engage with him. I am grateful I blocked him so thoroughly because it allowed me to have a clean break. But obviously in his red pill mind, that's not normal. Will closure help him? Nope. Martin has suggested that he'd even pretend to be a fully dedicated boyfriend to help discourage my ex from any ideas of reconciliation. Getting back in touch with that guy is a terrible idea. He is going to see it as an in. He's going to think that he's beaten down your resolve slowly but surely. Please do not. That is such a bad idea. Honestly, since our breakup, I've been considering moving to Portugal, but very whimsically. Now this situation has made me think about it seriously. I write because last time your comments gave me comfort and lots of insights and confidence. And you know what? That's where that one ends, and I just really hope the OP did not flipping unblock him. That would be such a bad idea. Oh my goodness. So, down in the comments of the Best of Redditor Updates post, Matcha Magpie says, if a mutual friend was reporting on my status to an ex, they would not be a mutual friend anymore. Exactly, but sometimes you don't always know who it is, especially if you've got like a lot of sort of intertwined friends. And then Broken Softly says, my stalker ex paid a mutual friend to visit me after I fled the state. We were at dinner, I was complaining about how abusive the relationship had been, and he broke down, admitted my ex was funding the visit, and apologised. Accepted the apology, requested he leave early, and then cut him out too as soon as he was on his way. I had panic attacks for years when I saw a car that looked like the ex's on the road. Doing better now. That is crazy work. Crazy. But yeah, I hope the OP did not unblock him. I will try and keep an eye out for any updates on that one. Hopefully there will be one where they say they did not block him. Oh my goodness, they're gonna undo all their hard work to like distance themselves from him, so hopefully not. But yeah, crazy, and the ex just sounds bloody nuts, doesn't he, really? I mean, losing his job and everything, that job that was oh so important, so much more important than the OBs. Like, that's when you know that you're going into dangerous territory, when they're losing their job so that they can drive past and try and find where you live. That's wild. That's dangerous. That is disconcerting. I don't like it one bit. So I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Don't forget to leave an offering of a comment for Big L. Bye!